no seat. We went and built up our own. You see, it's rather stable. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, you know the rest. Look, listen, and observe, but also respect. In God we trust. It's obvious. The money ain't the root of all evil, but lack thereof. That's why they deprive you of resources. Why they focus on streams of income, at least 3 sources. We certified, we solidified. And they say they created hip-hop, but all that shit is lies. Cause every element came before the development of what we calling hip-hop now. It's all relevant to all the topics we gon' touch on. Spoiler alert, as you play this album, ain't no club songs. Boy, that hurt, but this ain't no conscious album. It's just that real shit, that Black God mantra album. I hope y'all feel this. Spark the brain, 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 spark the brain. My mind is on the brain, spark the brain.
The masters, the masters, the masters, the masters.
Peace. This is the Black Dot, father, author, writer, poet, MC, one half of the dynamic duo, the #1 father and son podcast, Urban X TV. I am super excited about the new release, The Master's Table, by Sincere Love the God and RP Beats. This album is going to be crazy. It's the follow-up to The Spear and The Shield. Already know what time it is. It's got some dope pieces on it. You're going to love it. Also on the album is yours truly, The Black Dot. So you want to go to the Masters RSVP and secure your copy now. They got a bundle package. You get a backdrop, you get a poster, you get the digital download, you get the physical copy, you get a hoodie. The whole process is really crazy. So RSVP to Masters RSVP, and you can get that dope album, I Sincere Love the God and RP Beats, The Master's Table. You will never be disappointed at how dope this project is going to be. Peace.
Have a seat at the master's table. We ain't asked for no seat. We went and built up our own. You see, it's rather stable. You got 2 eyes, 2 ears, you know the rest. Look, listen, and observe, but also respect. In God we trust. It's obvious. The money ain't the root of all evil, but lack thereof. That's why they deprive you of resources. Why they focus on streams of income, at least 3 sources. We certified, we solidified. And they say they created hip-hop, but all that shit is lies. Cause every element came before the development of what we calling hip-hop now. It's all relevant to all the topics we gon' touch on. Spoiler alert, as you play this album, ain't no club songs. Boy, that hurt, but this ain't no conscious album. It's just that real shit, that Black God mantra album. I hope y'all feel this.
Peace, God.
Hey, Dad. He's so good.
Hey, man, I got you a new book.
A new book?
Check it out. Check it out. Let me know how you like it. I'll be back. Man, this Bitcoin, this Ethereum ain't doing nothing for me right now, man. Gotta find some new investments.
Peace, God. What you doing?
Peace, God. Good.
I think this book is kind of inappropriate.
Inappropriate? Well, what's up with it?
It's inappropriate because look at these.
LGBT? Oh, man, I'm sorry about that, God.
I accept your apology.
Man, it's a shame, man. You can't even find no decent books for you nowadays without having to have these difficult conversations.
I have an idea.
What's
Maybe
that?
we should make a series of our own book.
A book series? That is a good idea.
7 volumes.
7, I get it. 7 volumes. What should we call it?
7 the Super Hey
7 the Perfect. 7 the Super Hey Rule.
And then maybe we could even make some bundles of it once we get to volume 3.
Oh, see, now you're thinking like a businessman. I like that idea, man. A foundational Black American children's series.
Perfect.
Visit www.godcastbooks.com and pre-order your book today.
With vast intelligence, we mastered the elements. I'm unapologetic, they call me a black supremacist. Knowing that's a contradiction. Mute my mic though. Let me unmute my mic though. Niggas, when they go and listen and learn, it's lose season. They told me drop a verse, I obliged them for 2 reasons. It's mutual respect, and what's better than 2 kings, man? I digress, but here's something to digest. These white supremacists dying off, quiet as kept. Google natural decrease if you lack belief or scared because I'm speaking freely over supreme beats. That's another song for another Decoded session. What's going on, family? Peace to the gods and the earths. Welcome to another episode of Sincere Love the Godcast. And this is the Masters Decoded. What volume are we on? I don't even know what volume we up to. Like 5 or 6, something like that. 5 or 6, something like that. Let me see. We started off with Black Death, White Wealth, featuring Zelle, and Aida. That was the first one. The second one we did was Who Killed Malcolm. And we had the Black God, student minister, Wesley Muhammad, come help us decipher the codes to that one right there. That was 2. And then the third one, I believe we did the Fort. Me and RP Beats held down the fort on that one. We did the Fort. And then what did we do? Where my joint at? Let me see. Hey, son. 7. Oh, yeah. We did 120 lessons. Thank you, Crown 808. We did 120 lessons with the Black Dot and Young Khan the Dawn. And then I believe that was 2 weeks ago. I think last week we did Flowers, and we had the God's second son here with us. What's going on, Charlie Shaw? Charlie Shaw, that name looked familiar. Charlie Shaw, that name looks familiar. What's going on with you though, beloved? Peace. What's going on, Max? Listen, as y'all coming up in this thing, I'm gonna need y'all to do me the honors and the favor of hitting that like button. Make sure you hit that like button as you come on up in here. Share this out on your social media. Let everybody on Facebook know. Let everybody on Twitter know that we are live doing another Masters Decoded session. And today we are doing Revenge of the Akata. Shout out to my co-host, Nicety Girl in the digital building. What's going on? Yeah, so like, share. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, you watching us on Facebook or Twitter, make sure you head on over to YouTube. Actually, I don't think we live on Twitter right now. We live on Facebook, my Facebook page and my regular Facebook profile. But either way, if you're watching us on another platform, you're watching this on the replay, you listening to this on your favorite podcast station, Spotify or whatever, make sure that you go to the YouTube channel. Just type in my name, Sincere Love to God, and make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be reminded whenever we go live with new content, new episodes of Sincere Love to Godcast. We got all types of great content going on over here for you all. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, click the notification bell, all of that good stuff. Peace to the God, Peter Ogun in the building. Peter Ogun, I know your CD should be on the way. I just sent out some more CDs yesterday, and I remember seeing your name when we was doing that. So your CD is definitely on the way. Be on the lookout for that joint right there. And for everybody who is not tapped in,
Today we doing Revenge of the Akata, and that's off the Master's Table album. And if you haven't heard the Master's Table album, it is available on all your favorite streaming platforms. You could also, let me see where we at here. You could also go to the mastersrsvp.com and you can order your merch. You can order the physical copies, digital download, all of that good stuff at the mastersrsvp.com. Go on over there and check us out. Run the streams up on Spotify, Tidal, Apple Music, all of that. Run them streams up. And to the family, to the day one supporters, those of y'all that been rocking with us, that really rock with us heavy like that, what y'all need to do, even when you're just chilling, if you're not using your phone at the moment, you're just watching TV or you're doing the dishes or something, you got something else going on, even if you're not listening to it, just go to your favorite streaming platform and hit play on the Masters Decoded and just put it on repeat and let that thing run. You know what I'm saying? Just run them streams up for the one time. Appreciate you in advance. And so what else I got for y'all, man? Of course, y'all need to order our book, man. Let me go back to my banners. Because y'all need to order our book. Y'all need to go to the godcastbooks.com. Y'all saw the ad play at the beginning for Seven the Super Rule children's book series. Seven's Big Move, which is volume 1 of this series. It's done. We pretty much made it to the finish line on that joint. We in the manufacturing process right now. So y'all need to go to godcastbooks.com and place your orders. You know what I'm saying? It's a children's book series based on the character the character named Seven, which is based on my son. Kind of deals with the relationship between me and him. You know what I'm saying? That father-son dynamic, and you know all of the adventures that he goes on as a young child, as an advanced learner. You know, dealing with science, technology, mathematics, engineering, all of that good stuff. Also dealing with a lot of history, a lot of social political stuff is in there. You know what I'm saying? But it's a fun book for the kids, for the young kids. Dope visual, like the art, the illustrations in there, dope visual stuff in there. A lot of subliminal messages within the visuals as well as within the text. You know what I'm saying? So that it can seep deep into the mind of the youth. You know what I'm saying? So as they reading the book, they having fun. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got to worry about being inundated with no weird agenda. You know, the stuff that they pushing out here in the mainstream and all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely void of that kind of nonsense. And so it's good, clean fun for our Black babies, but it also serves as an educational piece. Like I said, man, it's a lot of subliminals in there that really get into the subconscious mind of the children as they're going through this developmental stage in their life, which will help them have that self-esteem and that confidence and that self-love that is needed. You know what I'm saying? That is definitely needed. So yeah, godcastbooks.com. Order the book now, Seven's Big Move. And for those of y'all who was coming to the FBA Expo in May, we're going to see y'all in a few weeks. We're going to see y'all in a few weeks at the FBA Expo out there in Dallas. We will be out there vending. We're going to have the books on deck. I'll have the CDs on deck, as well as some other merch and stuff like that too. So y'all make sure y'all come visit our table if y'all at the FBA Expo coming up May 27th. All right. Yep. And the moderators are dropping the links in the chat. For those of y'all who want to place y'all orders today, make sure y'all use those links right there. Also, the links are in the description if you're watching this on the replay. Got the links in the description as well. And so, like I said, man, today we doing Revenge of the Akata. I'm trying to stall a little bit because I'm expecting a guest. To pull up. I know she said she was getting off work right around this time, but she would most likely be able to pull up. And so hopefully she could come help me out with this joint right here. But how many of y'all, you know, let me see, while I'm stalling a little bit, let me do this. Let me do this while I'm stalling real quick. Let me do this while I'm stalling real quick. Because Revenge of the Akata, I want to say it's one of the most controversial songs on the album. I want to say that. Oh, check your email. I see you in the chat. When shit gets rare, check your email. I emailed you your personal link so that you could tap in. But let me do this real quick while we waiting on my girl Raya to pull up. Let me see. Where we at? This stuff look just different. Oh, here we go. I gotta go here. Share this tab. And so, yeah, like I said, I want to say Revenge of the Akata is one of the most controversial songs on the album. One of. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say it's the most controversial, but you know, it's a trigger warning for some. It's a trigger warning for some. Some people get triggered. You know what I mean? I put out like a short freestyle of it before we released the album, and I don't know, that thing went crazy on Twitter. That shit might have probably racked up like 10,000 retweets or something like that. Something crazy like that. It was doing crazy numbers, and the Tethers was upset in the comment section. So, like I said, it's a trigger warning for the Tethers. It's a trigger warning for the Tethers. But yeah, man. So let me just say this about the song, right? Before we even get into it. Revenge of the Akata, it's a song where we got to get a little straightening done. You know what I'm saying? We got to get a little bit of straightening with this record right here. Because foundational Black Americans in particular, we have tolerated, you don't see the link. Let me try to send it again. We have tolerated disrespect from pretty much every single other group, especially even outside of the country, but particularly those that immigrate to this country, off of our backs and off of our struggle. We experience just the ultimate disrespect from a lot of these people as a group. Not every single individual, of course, but as a group, none of these people have been on code with us, and many of them have been hostile towards us. Let me make sure I got you right now. So I sent it again. Check your spam and everything like that too. LJ Fennell. What's going on, King? What's going on, nephew? Right? And so, yeah, with this joint right here, we just had to get a little bit of straightening. And so, I know a couple of comments that I got when I had put out that freestyle. Some people were saying, you getting at us Africans, you know what I'm saying? But what about the white supremacists? You know what I'm saying? What about the white supremacists and all that? And the thing is, we never take our eye off the white supremacists. We never take our eye off the white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? The white supremacists are always the main target in everything that we do. You know what I'm saying? But the Tethers, in reality, the Tethers are henchmen for the white supremacists. The Tethers are team white supremacy. So we got to deal with that. That's not just something that we can ignore and overlook. But the other thing is, the song is not about Africans. But for some reason, mainly Africans choose to center themselves and make it about them. Regardless, we're going to go through the lyrics. This is the lyrical breakdown right here. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to go through the lyrics and we're going to deal with what I actually said in the song. But regardless to what the lyrics say, they want to center themselves and make it about them. But I touched on everything in this record. I touched on all of the groups. I didn't just make it all about the Africans or all about the Caribbeans, we do put a special emphasis on it when we talk about the tethers, because those are the ones that look like us. Those are the ones that's the most dangerous, because they wearing our uniform. So we got to point them out more than anything else. Everybody else, we can identify them pretty much at face value. But the ones that look like us are the most dangerous. So we got to put extra emphasis on the tethers, because the tether trick has been working for about 40 years, unbeknownst to us. We ain't get hip to the tether trick till about 5-6 years ago or something like that. They've been running the tether game on us since like the late 70s, early 80s. And we ain't peep game for decades. So that tether thing, we got to put special emphasis on that. We got to put special emphasis on that. Shout out to my brother Great Black Shark. Rhea, let me know if I got the right email. Let me know if I got the right email. But while we waiting on my sister to pull up, let me go through some exhibits. Let me go through some exhibits, because I know y'all know we ain't whistling Dixie, but let's just bring some of the receipts, because these are some of the things that we hear from the tether class. Exhibit A.
Is like immigrants do, is flee away from danger. I love the idea of go back to your country, because there's this mentality that there's a claim to something. Your entire country is based off of people that flee. Like that is what people do. They flee. If it ain't working out there and the oppression is way too bad, they flee for better opportunities. Some people want to sit there and fight all day, but other people actually want to raise their children and they don't want to spend their life fighting. Do you get that? Do you understand that? No, you don't? Okay, no problem. So now let's move forward. So as an immigrant, I'm here in this country. What do I want to do? Put my best foot forward. What do my parents want to do? Put their best foot forward and give us the best opportunity they possibly can. Thank you, Lord, for my parents, because they did exactly that. But it's my turn as their child to hold the baton. And one thing I always say, my parents did not risk their lives to get to America for me to get involved in some political warfare. My parents did not risk their lives for me to get to America, for me to sit here fighting people all day. That makes absolutely no sense. And I think because you guys have never taken that level of a risk, you don't understand that level of responsibility and accountability. That's really the problem here. Because you really risk your lives to have something.
I can only take so much. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear that pretty good, by the way? I hope so, because that right there, that's what you call textbook tether babble. That's textbook tether talk right there. That is the archetype, the quintessential tether right there. Could y'all hear that pretty good? Y'all type a number 7 in the chat if y'all can hear it good. Okay, so y'all heard it. She said, I heard every slimy word. Yeah, right. We come from a non-fleeing culture. The Bible was loud and clear. Yes, indeed. All right. So let's go to Exhibit B. I'm not even debunking or deciphering none of their stuff right now. I'm just gonna let them say what they said. Let them say what they said. I ain't even going through. I got to decipher these lyrics. I ain't got time to decipher this babble right now. But
how do I say this respectfully? I'm not your people. You're not my people. I don't roll like that. Just because we have the same skin color doesn't mean that you're my people, or vice versa. And this is something that I've seen as an immigrant who has been living in the United States of America for more than a decade now. This past couple of years, people like you see me and automatically assume that I'm a slave descendant, my ancestors are slaves, and then they expect us to think the same way, act the same way, or believe in the same things. And if we don't, we're crazy, or we're called all the racial stuff in the book, which is for another day.
Oh, Lord. Hold on.
How do I say that?
I'm trying to get Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans. I ain't trying to get no strike. I don't want to play the music. But let's go to Exhibit C.
So I will start off with the fact that I never really saw myself as a Black person growing up. I still don't. Of course, if someone asks me if I'm Black, of course I'm Black in terms of, how society uses the term to describe someone with a certain skin color. I don't really care about that. But a lot of the people that I meet in America who are from America, who are raised here and are Black, mostly Black people, really ever bring this up with me because I think they assume that I share their beliefs or perspectives. They see Black as, who they are and their identity. And if you're not acknowledging their struggle or the struggle of their ancestors or, the struggle of Black people, then, I don't know, I guess you are naive or you don't really care about that history or you are not acknowledging them.
You just a tether.
Everybody is far. So I will start off with the fact that
I don't know what happened right there.
Never really saw my...
I didn't even realize that posted like that, but y'all get the point.
Talk revolved around Black people. Africans have some type of superiority.
Oh, no, that one got music too. I ain't gonna play that one either. That one got music too. But y'all get the point, though. So that's what we dealing with tonight. Rhea, are you here in the chat? Rhea, are you here in the chat? Because if you're having trouble with the link, I'll just drop it in the chat for you. We could just do it that way. Let me go here. Share this tab instead. Let me close this. Let me see what y'all talking about over here. Party City wig. Life is a greater teacher. Yep, facts. Life is a greater teacher than our words. Those goofy tethers will learn the hard way. That's a fact. All right, I'm going to drop the link right here for you. Let me see. Invite. I'm going to drop the link right here in the chat. Do it that way. All right, nobody clicked the link except for Rhea. Let me get it here. Let me get this here. Boom. The musty, unmitigated gall and audacity. Yo, y'all a trip, man. Y'all a trip. All right, I dropped the link in the chat. Look, I'm going to play the song one time straight through, and then y'all know how we do. We're going to get into the lyrical breakdown. Hold on. How do I do this? Okay.
This shit with all due respect, dog. When we get to that war, when that war coming is us against them, my fucking AK is gonna go, Akata, 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 Akata. That's when my shit gonna ring out, nigga.
Yeah. Revenge of the Smash the elements. Y'all. Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latinx, Arabs, native tribes, Haitians. All these motherfuckers been secretly hating. This for the tether class, not for the riders in the diaspora. No disrespect to you, but we gotta provide some order. I know they told you stay away from the Akata, but mama should've warned you not to play with the Akata. We them Yankee boys, and I'ma say that shit frankly, boy. My family built this fucking country, you should thank me, boy. This block viento tu mejora, la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa. All that colorism in these racial caste systems. All across Asia, the darkest ones be the victims. India, they untouchable, they mean that shit literal. But here on US soil, we unfuckwittable. Exceptional people, respect to the Negro. Before you get your green card, we double checking your ego. That bulletproof glass in Arab stores, stop buying them cigarillos, we take that as war. They like to call us Abids and Jareds, but East Africa is in shambles, the hypocrisy's weird. Your economy's weird, bankrupt, so you gotta flee here. We embrace you with open arms, now it's obviously clear, we unappreciated. All that sucker shit is for leeches, ain't it? I think it's time that we get reacquainted. Foundational black Americans, we the ones that be moving culture. So sit your ass in the goofy corner. When we talking about reparations, it ain't up for debate, it's a blood debt owed to descendants defendants for the enslavement. But you could call us freedmen for legislation. Just like y'all compensated Asians with no hesitation. But permanent underclass is our designation. We can't accept replacement in the country we created. Which brings me to all these neo-Nazi Ukrainians. We are not them docile Africans y'all be playing with. Nah, these niggas built different. They wonder how we still kicking after centuries of being in the fields picking cotton and indigo. Shout out to the Seminoles and Gullah Geechees. Hey, what that reparations hitting for? And if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck. So be comfortable, nigga. And if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck. So be comfortable, nigga. Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latinx, Arabs, Native tribes, Haitians. All these motherfuckers been secretly hating.
We're not asking for anything. We're not asking for anything, but all we want is what's ours. You know, this revolution is built on somebody else, really.
All right. Let's get down to business real quick. And so I invited a guest to come join me tonight. And so I wanted this sister to come on here with me because, number one, she's dope. I've been following her for a minute. She speaks truth to power. She puts out great content when she feels like it. You know what I mean? But the main thing is she's non-FBA, but she's 1,000% on code. So let me introduce to you all my guest for this evening. That's Soraya.
Can you hear me?
Welcome to the Godcast. Yes, I can hear you. What's going on?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm doing good. A little late, but I'm here.
Nah, we here. It's all good. Thank you for joining me, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
So, real quick, for people, who's not familiar, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first, as you did mention, I am non-FBA. My parents come from the island of Grenada, which I believe is, if you know where Trinidad is, it's about maybe 30 minutes a plane ride to there. I have actually gone to school in the United States for 4 years. I played basketball, so I know a little thing or two. And I feel like going there changed my experience and how I sort of view things. I understood that there was racism and white supremacy, but I think to actually be around people who can kind of, I guess, break down exactly what's going on and why society is like this and why certain things are like that for Black Americans, gave me a little bit more insight on how to kind of see the world and, how I should move accordingly and understand the space that I am in. So.
And where you located now?
I'm actually in Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, Canada. How long you been out there?
My whole life. I've actually born and raised. Moved out a little bit further to the east of the city, and then I came back. And yeah, I've been here ever since. Probably about I would say maybe about 30 years now I've lived here. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What part of the United States were you in when you went to school here?
Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh damn, hella racist over there. But what's the experience like in Toronto, in Canada in general? Because I hear, from some people who think it's like some type of paradise, ain't no racism out there, and then some people, that it's the opposite. You know what I mean? But I know it's a lot of diverse people from all over the place in Canada. So what's your experience like out there?
I would say Toronto, and I've explained this yesterday on Jason Black's Live. The people here are a bit more covert in how they handle racism. You do have people who say snide things. At work, I've had people call in and say very, very disparaging things about Black people as well. They don't know. I guess they feel as if I don't have an accent. They assume that I'm not a person of color or I'm not Black. And it's like, surprise, write up the report, I can hear you. Right. But people are a little bit more covert, I would say, within the city of Toronto and how they do approach others and how they express their racism. You do have, I guess, outliers who aren't afraid to say what they need to say. But for the most part, when you do go out more west, I guess, in the country, where you touch Alberta or British Columbia, that's where people are not shy to let you know that this is it. This is what it is. It's kind of, I would say, maybe the south of the north, I guess you would say. So
I get it. So it's like you got your liberal areas, you got your conservative areas. So white supremacy, they just have different ways of going about practicing it. But is the anti-blackness mainly or only from white people, or do you get it from some of the other groups there too?
no, you get it from everywhere else. Mostly, I would say in Toronto, it's a hotbed for immigrants. So when people come here, um, they bring the learned values that they had where they were to Toronto. And I would also say that does include people who are part of the African diaspora and the Caribbean diaspora as well. I've experienced it. We have a restaurant in Toronto, I believe it's called, I forgot the name, but there was a whole write-up on there where there were a few Black customers who came in and they were actually denied a space to eat. There was a big story about it, how the owners were racist. So it's pretty common here. People don't like to talk about it because we like to paint the picture that we're Canada and everybody holds hands and gets along.
Right.
But I mean, for the most part, ask pretty much anybody, they've at least experienced it for a good portion of their lives.
Yeah. I remember I was locked up in a facility in Dannemora, New York, which is like real close to the Canada border. And nothing but a bunch of like the whitest people on earth is in Dannemora. Like they even have a statistic up there where it's like they're like the most purebred white people, like never been mixed with anything. You know what I'm saying? But there was this one Black dude who worked there. He wasn't the CEO. He was some type of civilian faculty member there. I forgot what he did, but Black as night. But he would tell us, "I'm not Black. I'm French Canadian." Is that a common thing out there? Like I know most of the Black people in Canada are like yourself, immigrated from somewhere else. Do they understand racism, white supremacy? Do they have like a conscious community out there or anything like that? Or is a bunch of tethers? Keep it
100. For the most part, I would say some of the younger generation kind of are understanding the feel of things, because I would say for the people who come here, they don't want to rock the boat. They just kind of want to put their head down, work, and unfortunately, that doesn't work at all. We've already seen plethora of examples where white people will attack you, or white supremacists will attack you when they want to and when they need to. There isn't a big conscious community, I would say. And I think that's also owed to the fact that many of us are first generation. So we're kind of stumbling around trying to figure out who's who, what is everybody about. I would say I did work with a newspaper out east in Nova Scotia for a bit of my time, I believe for like 2 or 3 months, where there were, I guess you would call them foundational Black Americans, the ones who've migrated, I guess, during the time where there was abolition, where Harriet Tubman was getting slaves to Canada. So there's a few of them out there who understand, but for the most part, the owner of the company and a few of the staff also expressed to me, it's hard. It's not easy trying to get everybody together out here.
All right, cool. So let's get into this record, man. You gonna help me decipher these lyrics today?
All right.
All right. All right. I'm just gonna play a little bit of it, and I'll just stop it, and we could just chop it up. Let me see. Here we go.
All due respect, dog. When we get to that war, when that war coming is us against them, my fucking AK is gonna go Akata, 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 Akata. That's when my shit gonna ring out, nigga. You gotta chill, man.
By the way, in the chat, who knows who that person is right there that's talking in the beginning of the song? I know some of y'all know. I forgot who it is, but I remember that thing. It had went kind of viral from one of those Twitter Spaces, or was it the other one, the other chat? I forgot the name of that other app. But who in the chat knows who that person is?
Yeah. Revenge of the Master Elements. Y'all. Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latinx, Arabs, native tribes, Haitians. All these motherfuckers been secretly hating. This for the 10th class, not for the riders in the diaspora. No disrespect to you, but we gotta provide some order.
All right, I'm gonna stop right there because that's an important line right there. You know what I mean? I start the song off making myself very clear. This is for the tether class. It's not for the riders in the diaspora. No disrespect to you, but we got to provide some order. So with that being said, if somebody feels some type of way, should I just take that as hit dogs hollering?
I guess for the most part, I would say yes and no. I think the new thing is now that we're actually calling out people. And I guess people haven't taken time to kind of reflect and say, hey, my community is actually doing this. And I had to explain this to my ex-boyfriend. I remember the first time Tariq talked about it. And I'm like, no, it's not about you specifically. If this isn't the way you feel, then it has something to do with you. But for a long time, we haven't held up a mirror to certain people within certain classes, and I would say the immigrant class for the most part, and kind of point out exactly the wrongdoings that they have committed. And I guess people haven't taken time to kind of digest that. I really don't feel a way about it because I know it's not about me. But I think some people just kind of need to get out of their feelings and understand that if we're going to progress, then you need to start looking at yourself and how people around you act and start calling them out on their BS.
All right. So you think everybody that feels some type of way is not necessarily a tether, but some people that just might not be comfortable calling out the nonsense. You think some people might fall into that category?
I think it's more of a shock. I think over time when you digest it, because we've had, I think it's been almost over 3 years since we've actually kind of hit this home. If you can't even look at the mirror at this point and say, okay, the issue is me or the issue is the people around me, and I have to start calling that out, then I kind of have to start looking at you like, well, what is the problem and what are you hiding and why do you feel a certain way?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because even when I talk to people who seem to be, have opposition with what we're saying or whatever the case may be, when we have conversations, they always concede that that's part of the culture, wherever they come from, whether it be from Africa, whether it be from the Caribbean, wherever. They always have to concede that, well, yeah, I have heard that growing up. I have heard people talk bad about foundational Black Americans or saying that we lazy or whatever. They always have to concede, one point or another, but they still have a problem with the fact that I made the song or that we're saying something about it. That's the part where I'm like, okay, I don't know where to put you at. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's also, we're not used, and I'll say this, like growing up in Canada versus America, the hospitality that you guys provide is completely different and a bit more warming and welcoming. And I think for such a long time, you've given that grace to a lot of us that people are kind of taken back and like, well, what's going on now? But they haven't really looked at the fact that I think you might want to shape up and start doing some homework on your side and seeing exactly that it's been one-sided for a long time. So I guess they're not used to that. I guess they're kind of shell-shocked in that way, I would say.
But some people say, the hospitality isn't there, that we're bullies. We bully them when they come over here, and we make fun of them. We make fun of them, and we call them African booty scratchers, and we even beat them up. From what I heard, I never seen it, I never experienced it, but from what I heard, that's what a lot of people say. Well, y'all ain't mess with us when we came over here. If the white people is the one that treated us good, not y'all.
I will say this, that's a whole bunch of deflection, because even I would say between Caribbean and Africans, there's also that weird friction. I don't know what it is. And I've had family members who've experienced it. I've experienced it when I went to Ghana. Apparently, I didn't know this, but when I was with my ex-boyfriend, he told me like there's a word that some people use. It's called iridium 4. and it pretty much means sugarcane people. And they refer to Caribbeans as that. So I was like, oh, thanks for telling me. So I think we went to his aunt's house in Accra. And, amongst everybody, they're going to speak their language. And I think one of the gentlemen asked me, oh, where are you from? And I referenced, oh, I'm from Grenada. And they started snickering and saying the word. And I tell them, yeah, I understand what that is. Do not call me that. And they were taken back, like, oh, we didn't know. Oh, sorry, I apologize. So there's a lot of deflection. Wow. Yeah.
Wow. And you're right, because even Caribbean on Caribbean, you get that a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, particularly the Haitians. I would say the Haitians get it the worst. Like, everybody seems to be against the Haitians. You know what I'm saying? In the Caribbean community, from my experience. I grew up in New York, grew up around a lot of Caribbeans. And if you mistake a Jamaican person or a Trinidadian person or something like that for a Haitian, they get highly offended. They get highly offended by that. And, you know what I'm saying? I even had to check my wife one time, because my wife is Jamaican.
Okay.
And
nice.
My son, he has some sandals on, and she was like, "Oh, you look like a Haitian." You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, "No, yo, don't say that, man." I'm like, "Yo, get off that bullshit." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I even had to check my own wife on that bullshit. But yeah, you get the Caribbean on Caribbean stuff too.
It's there, and I think most of it is the fear of what Haiti is now, because they understand the history, they understand what Haiti represents, and nobody wants to, even though for the most part, the Black class in the Caribbean are sitting at the bottom of the totem pole, nobody wants to even go near exactly what Haiti is today. So there's this kind of stigma that some, not all, but I would say there's a good majority throw onto them. And unfortunately, it's kind of disappointing.
Right. I agree. But Carter Love said, in the city and in Yonkers, the migrants used to get picked on and jumped and all of that. But Carter Love, let me ask you, would you say that those was children, or is it grown people running around beating up immigrants?
So he said there were immigrants who used to get picked on?
Yeah. He said in Yonkers and in New York City, they used to pick on the immigrants and beat them up. But I'm asking, is that adults running around doing that, or is it children that's doing that? And
I would say it's mostly a kid thing. But personally, even I growing up, there's different sects or different people from different parts of the world. Everybody gets made fun of in some certain way or form, and I've never seen or experienced, and I have family who lives in New York as well. I've never heard of them saying that. So it's kind of bewildering to me how there's all of a sudden this victimization of, when I come here, I get jumped on or I get beat up. And it's like, that was never my cousin's experience. And I have cousins also who live out west as well. That was never their experience. So I don't know where this is coming from. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you exactly.
I want to say a couple of things about it. Number one, as Foundation of Black Americans, we make fun of everybody. We make fun of each other. It ain't personal. It ain't about you being an immigrant. It ain't about none of that. That's just us. We talk a lot of shit and we crack jokes. And as far as people getting beat up, sometimes you gotta take another look too, because in New York, a lot of these people that you're talking about are like Caribbeans who were born here. You know what I'm saying? But they just look like us. They just blend in with us. We wasn't doing no delineation back in the days. You know what I'm saying? And so you just look at it like, oh, these black people beating me up. But this is just a Jamaican person who don't got no accent. You know what I'm saying? Or a Trinidadian who don't got no accent, but they grew up here. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times that be the case too. I ain't saying black Americans are just innocent and all that. You probably got beat up by some black Americans too. But I'm just saying, it's not like part of the culture. Like we don't grow up in a household with our parents and our grandparents telling us, oh, the Caribbeans this or that, and to stay away from the Africans. Like we never heard no shit like that in our house.
Yeah, and I went to school there, and I've never experienced people clown when people say stupid things, but I've never been threatened or beat up or maligned for where I come from and we were pretty vocal about, my parents are from Grenada. I'm never shy to express that or say that or have pride in that. But I've never been picked on or been told something derogatory about where I come from. And even if people make fun of you, you just kind of poke fun at them back and play the dozens. It's not really that serious.
Right. All right. Wonder why those non-FBA folks never expressed their views on white folks who constantly harassed them growing up also. Many seem to forget that. Yeah. All right, well, moving on. Shout out to everybody that's coming in the room right now. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all share this out and let everybody know that we are live.
I know they told you stay away from the Akata, but mama should've explorer. No disrespect to you, but we gotta provide some order. I know they told you stay away from the Akata, but mama should've warned you not to play with the Akata. We them Yankee boys, and I'ma say that shit frankly, boy. My family built this fucking country, you should thank me, boy. This block viento tu mejora, la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa.
Yeah, so like I was saying in the beginning, even though a lot of particularly African people make this all about them, like I'm addressing everybody on this song. It's not just about Africans, it's not just about Caribbeans. Like I said, foundational Black Americans, we received this anti-Black sentiments and behavior from all of the groups that migrate here. You know what I'm saying? It's not just the Black ones. And so I'm not just talking about the Black ones on the song either. But let me back that up a little bit. Hold on.
Me boy, this block viento tu mejora, la raza the Akata, but mama should've warned you not to play with the Akata. We them Yankee boys, and I'ma say that shit frankly, boy. My family built this fucking country, you should thank me, boy.
So, Ray, I already know you know what time it is, and I love saying your name because that's my daughter's name, by the way.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, that's like, shouldn't that just be like just a common courtesy? Do people not know that the reason that their family is allowed to come here is because of the work that foundational Black Americans put in? Do they not know that, or are they just disrespectful, just period?
I think there is some ignorance on their part because, and even when I went to Ghana, I will say again, there's a lot of things that were kind of blocked out. They don't even really know about their own history. Like, I think I showed my ex's sister, who was 13, a picture of Selassie, and she's like, "Who is that?" And I was kind of like, "Really? You don't know who that is?" So there is a lot of ignorance as to what goes on over here. Now, albeit when you do get here and you do learn the experience, respect the culture and respect the people who laid and paved the way for you. And if you're still carrying on with the nonsense, even after knowing all of that, and even after having an understanding of Black American slavery and history behind it, yeah, I'll have to classify you in the coon box after that.
Right. Right. Because that's like a common courtesy, just asking for basic respect. Like, look, man, you know, my family sacrificed so that you can have the opportunities that you have. Like, coming over here with all of that disrespect, like, it's just a bit much, man. But when we go to other places, and usually we don't like just relocate altogether. Usually we just visiting. But even people who do relocate, repatriate back to the motherland or whatever the case may be, people always come with respect. Always try to, you know, learn the culture. They show respect to the culture, and they bring resources. Like, we usually trying to help out. You know what I'm saying? Trying to make this place better. Trying to, you know, see what is needed. I posted a video a couple of days ago, maybe last week or something, with the sister who's living over there in Ghana, and talking about you know, how she's, you know, working with solar panels and building toilets and wheelchairs and doing all this different type of stuff, you know what I'm saying, for the people there. And the dude that she married a dude that was from there, and all he was trying to do was finesse a green card. He was trying to get her to take him back to the US. You know what I'm saying? And then people there is mad at her for saying, like, she expressed on her social media that, yo, a lot of Africans don't understand what Pan-Africanism is about. And they was telling her, you need to go back to your country and all of that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I should play it. I might play it before we get out of here.
Please.
Now let me just do it now. Because I'm gonna open it back up. But yeah, respect is just this is a basic courtesy. Not even saying y'all need to get in the fight and get on code and all that. Like, yeah, we would love that too. But just basic respect.
Well, we even saw that with Meek Mill when he went there and somebody had stole his phone, and he was upset about that. And I feel like you would have a right to say, hey, somebody took my phone. I came here, I tried to do right by you guys, and this is the treatment that I get. And I've seen it happen more than often, especially when I was with my ex as well. It's more so everybody is out for themselves, and the name of the game is to collect for you and you only. And if I have to walk over my own mother, my father, my grandmother to do it, so help me God, I'm gonna get to that point. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Nah, nicely. We not on Twitter today. I'm on both of my Facebook pages, and of course here on YouTube. But yeah, let me play what the sister was talking about.
Living in Africa, and now I've been in Ghana 3 years, no break. Okay. I really have come to understand that Africans do not have an understanding of what it means to be a Pan-Africanist. They don't understand that, even though the liberating president, Kwame Nkrumah, put great work in that. He was meeting with these Black leaders and really made it clear that no matter where the African was dispersed, whether it was in the Americas or the Caribbean or Jamaica, they were authentically African, and we shared the motherland in common. They don't understand what that is. So the idea that an African man, and now I'm referring to my estranged husband, would select a woman who is a clear Pan-Africanist. Like, I have spent the last 5 years of my life coming back and forth to the continent. I've been to Africa 8 times in 5 years. And during that time, my predominant role has been to bring books, learning aid, technology to assist with any sort of elevation of creative thought, to teach, to counsel on some levels. I've been involved with, fundraising for roofs for schools, for helping with home toilets, helping with mobility aids like wheelchairs. That's recently what I've involved myself with. Any way that I can serve the continent, I can serve my mother. I consider myself the lost child. I'm returning to my mother, whether she's sick, fractured, or whatever. That's what I do. In fact, he came to know of me when I was coming back from Tanzania, where the effort there was solar panels and books. So why would you pick this woman, want to marry this woman, and think that a Pan-Africanist, the level of work I've been putting in on the continent, that person is going to get you a green card to go back to America, which we view it as Babylon. We know America. We know what she founded on. We know her fractured state and her frailty. Why would you think that was going to happen? So it's just interesting, our understanding of even our ideologies. Here, Ghana, they have the Black Star Soccer League. They have no idea that that's connected to Marcus Garvey and all that amazing set of ships he had to ship Black folks back to the motherland. And until we have an understanding of that, this man made an error. You can't ride off a Pan-Africanist back to the U.S. It's never going to happen. It's not personal. It's just how it is. Our effort is to come back here.
And so she still doesn't realize the finesse, obviously. She don't realize that dude was running game the whole time.
I could have told her that at the beginning.
Say it again?
I said I could have told her that at the beginning when she met him.
Yeah, man. But even listening to her talk about her experience there, I haven't been over there, but I was talking to a brother the other day who lived there for a few years, and he told me like the opposite. You know what I'm saying? He was telling me how the people there are, they love us so much and they just want us to come home and all of this other stuff. They see us as being the same. And I'm like, I don't know what part you were in, brother. You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying there's not some people from the continent who have that mindset, but as a group, I don't think that that's part of the culture. You know what I'm saying? Like they make it clear that we're not the same. We're the ones that been thinking we all the same. You know what I'm saying? Until recent times.
Yeah, I would also piggyback off of that. Like my experience there, people were nice. But upon looking upon how everybody treats each other, my trust is completely lost in how I would move around everyone. I've seen daughters cheat their mothers. I've seen fathers cheat their sons. And if a home is broken, I don't want to be, or I don't want to enter into that space. I rather you guys fix up and do some house cleaning, and then from there we can move forward. But yeah, it's a Shark Tank.
Right. And speaking of Shark Tanks, I agree with what Great Black Shark is saying. I agree with what he's saying. Like they don't even see each other that way. You know what I'm saying? As far as Pan-Africanism, they don't even look at each other as being one people. You know, the tribalism is heavy. And so I don't know. I wish it wasn't that way. I wish it wasn't that way because, you know, there's billions of people over there, man. Like you said, you can flip the world stage overnight by just having the mindset of, you know, regardless of what part of the continent you come from or even what part of the world you come from, we all the same people. That mindset right there changes everything. And so the evidence is the results that we see. That's how we know that mindset doesn't exist because of the results that we see. But let's carry on.
And I mean this shit with all due respect, dog. When we get to that war.
Yeah, frankly, boy, my family built this fucking country. You should thank me, boy. This block miento tu mejora la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa.
I said, this block miento tu mejora la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa. So this is a popular saying in the Latin or Hispanic community, which means improve the race or whiten up the race. Blanqueamiento, mejora la raza, improve the race. So in their own countries, but forget about when they come over here, but in their own countries, all across Latin America, this is part of the culture where they train their children to try to marry someone as light as possible to try to improve the race through breeding out the melanin. They want to be, you know, assimilated into white culture as much as possible, especially when they come over here, but they practice it in their own countries. You know what I mean? And so in the Caribbean, I know that they do a lot of bleaching. What do you think that's about?
I would say specifically, I'll say for Grenada, it's not as common. And that's not to toot my own horn because I
don't know too much about Grenada. I just know that's where Malcolm X's mom is from, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she's from there. It's actually a really nice island. You should go visit sometime. Very beautiful. But I haven't seen that or heard too much of that within family members or growing up. I know it's extremely big in Jamaica, unfortunately. And I think that's really tied to, and I've noticed this, especially when St. Patrick's Day had passed, where there was this whole entire thing. I don't know if it was something that happened in the States where you were able to see that, but a lot of the Jamaicans here, and especially a lot of personalities, Toronto personalities, were tooting their horn about how, you know, they're Irish or they have Irish blood in them, and you know, we should embrace that. And I was like, whoa, did we just skip over a certain part of history where how did you get to the Irish blood?
Right.
So I think there's this need to kind of hold on to whiteness because in the eyes of a lot of people, whiteness equals power. And it's an unfortunate state. So I see why they do it. I don't excuse it. I don't think it's the right thing to do. But
they literally have like the caste systems over there in some of these countries where the lighter you are, the more privileges you have in society, correct?
They do. And actually my dad and I had a discussion about that with somebody who we do know, where he's from Jamaica, he's of a lighter skin, and he explained, he thinks he's better than, he doesn't say hi to people, he thinks he's better than just because they would call them clear skin or light skin, I guess as you guys would call it, but he thinks he's clear skin, so therefore he doesn't have to really mingle or talk to certain people who are of a certain hue. So it is there. It's unfortunate. Yeah.
That is deep. But yeah, that's a common thing, particularly in the Latin community, that attitude about lightening the race and improving the race and all of that stuff. And we get it twisted over here because we think there's some type of black and brown, so-called brown camaraderie that never really existed. You know what I'm saying? And so whenever I'm talking to somebody about these issues and they keep talking about, black and brown people, I'm like, dude, ain't nobody brown. Like, they don't see themselves as brown. They think they white, and they going out their way to try to appear to be white. You know what I'm saying? It's some sick stuff. That day that Memorandum 46 didn't want to occur becomes a reality in the global black world. White supremacy is finished. Oh, that thing that you said about the Irish, I heard Tariq talk about that recently, where and I didn't know this, where he was saying that the green and the RBG flag is kind of like an ode to the Irish. I guess Marcus Garvey has some type of affinity for the Irish, and even the Jamaican flag is kind of similar to the Scottish flag. And so at some point, like, the Scottish, Irish is pretty much the same people. But the Jamaican flag and the Scottish flag is like the same flag, different colors. And so
I haven't heard that. Maybe I have to do. From what I've heard or what I was told by some people, it was kind of similar to the Ashanti flag.
The Jamaican flag?
Yes, because I know the Ashanti have yellow or gold, green, and black. And some of their prints are similar to the Jamaican flag, but if someone can find something that contests that, then
oh yeah, I looked it up when I heard it. I definitely found some stuff that was verifying what he was saying, and yeah, the flag is pretty much identical, it's just different colors. And I actually used my son because my son he knows like every flag. You know what I'm saying? Just by looking at the flag, he'll tell you what country it is. And so I had him look at it. I'm like, yo, you think this look like the same flag? And he's like, yeah, it's the same. It's just two different colors.
Oh, wow.
So it is. Same as the Confederate flag with saltire. I don't know what that is, Renee. I don't know what that is. But let's go. So, desbloqueamiento tu mejora la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa.
Tu mejora la raza. Keep that shit in your country and don't bring it to mi casa. All that colorism in these racial caste systems. All across Asia, the darkest ones be the victims. India, they untouchable. They mean that shit literal. But here on U.S. soil, we unfuckwittable.
So, do you know about that?
The Asian colorism?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've actually experienced it at my previous job. I've seen it firsthand. I worked with a few Koreans and then a few Filipinos. And one of the workers, we were just sitting around gathered at the table. It was like the end of the day. And I guess we were talking about the facial structure of Koreans versus everybody else and how Korean men don't really grow facial hair. And I guess one of the coworkers pointed to the Filipino guy who we were working with. Well, they were saying, well, what about him? He has facial hair. And she's like, oh, well, he's not really Asian. He doesn't really count. And I was kind of like, oh, okay. So what is he then?
Right.
Like, oh, people from there, they're really not Asian. So I was like, oh, okay. And that was the first time I actually heard that before from the horse's mouth. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard the Filipinos referred to as the niggers of Asia.
Correct.
But in India, they have a group of dark-skinned Indians, a certain part of India, I don't remember which part it is, but a certain group of dark-skinned Indians who are referred to as the untouchables. And like literally it's against the law to intermingle with these people at all. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not even classified as human beings. You know what I'm saying? Just from being dark. And they have a group of people like that in Mexico too, who only recently became considered to be citizens. I believe it's like in Oaxaca. It's a group of dark-skinned people that look like me and you. They just speak Spanish down in Mexico. And all the way up until I want to say like maybe 3 years ago, they weren't even considered citizens.
Really?
Yep.
The Indian one I have heard about, because I think I saw a documentary where they were trying to take their land. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not too sure. The Mexican one I haven't heard of, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Like all this colorism and these racial caste systems, because that's the difference between some of the Spanish colonizers and some of the French colonizers. And even some of the British colonies and other places was set up differently than it was set up here. Whereas here, no matter what your complexion was, no matter if you was the offspring of one of the slave masters, you was still a nigga. You still gonna get out in the field with the rest of us and pick that cotton. But a lot of the plantation owners, they didn't actually live there. Like they would travel back and forth to Europe a lot. And so when they would have offspring from raping the indigenous people over there, they would actually claim the children. You know what I'm saying? And they would, raise the children as a white person. And they would leave them in charge of the plantation while they were going back and forth to Europe, handling business and all of that. And so that's how they set up these buffer classes and these racial caste systems in order to have, a buffer in between the plantation owners and the actual slaves to maintain that order. And so that mentality was embedded in some of these other places, and it still persists to this day. Whereas we never really had that. Like the colorism over here, it just revolves around dating preferences. That's like as far as it goes. There's really no privileges in America that you get for being light skinned. You know what I'm saying? It's just you got certain Negroes that prefer to just date light skinned women. That's about as far as the colorism goes over here.
Yeah, I think they're making a movie. There's a famous composer from Guadeloupe. His father was white, but his mother was a slave. And I vaguely remember.
I saw the commercial.
Yeah, and he brought him to Europe and he enrolled him in all the best schools and everything. I forgot his name, but I remember there was something along the lines of a story like that.
I was wondering if that was a true story. I saw the commercial when I went to see Creed.
It is, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that happened a lot in the Caribbean, Latin America. You said facts though. Through the whole Central America, not just Mexico. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Honduras, I'm not surprised. Most of the people I know from Honduras are black though. I never really met like mulatto looking, European looking people from Honduras. Everybody is black that I know. But yeah, all over Latin America, Central America, all of those places, that's part of the culture. But in Asia too, and not just in India, and it's not just with the Filipinos like what we're talking about. Like there are dark-skinned people in China, Japan, all of these places where we typically think about, what a typical Chinese person look like, Bruce Lee or whatever. But they have dark-skinned people in all of these countries and they're marginalized. You know what I'm saying? They're treated away because of their color.
It's unfortunate.
That's the thing that I think we need to understand though. Like this is a global system. You know what I mean? Like most people think racism is just about us, foundational Black Americans. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just something that happens in America. You know what I mean? And the only people who suffer from it are foundational Black Americans. And me, I'm not one of y'all, so I'm different. I ain't got to worry about all that racism shit y'all talking about.
I think there's an understanding of it, but I guess when people, they're just in complete denial as well. Because I've talked to folks that, when I've had Asian friends and I've had people say, oh, that white person is this, or they're being racist. So there's an understanding of white supremacy, but for some reason people think if I just put my head down and I act like it doesn't exist and cover my ears, then I can just walk right past it. But I mean, what is it? Professor Black Truth says when they're done with their tools, they'll break it. So you can't just think you can do that.
Facts. Ain't no safe spaces. Not for long anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Exceptional people, respect to the Negro. Before you, they untouchable. They mean that shit literal. But here on U.S. soil, we unfuckwittable. Exceptional people, respect to the Negro. Before you get your green card, we double checking your ego. That bulletproof glass in A-Rap stores. Stop buying them cigarillos. We take that as war. Oh.
So do y'all got that in Canada?
No.
The Indian and Arab store owners, nah?
They don't have bulletproof glass, but we do have a lot of Middle Eastern or Arab store owners.
Oh, but they don't got the glass up.
No. The gun laws are pretty, at least in Ontario, they're pretty tight. I think they already passed another one where you can't have a handgun. So yeah, I guess you can probably run up on somebody with a knife, but I mean, that's not going to end well, I guess.
Right. But yeah, and I notice, like when I'm traveling through the Carolinas, my daughter lives in Charlotte. I'm in Georgia. And so when I was going to pick her up just last week, and, we stop off in these little towns to get gas or whatever the case may be, it's never an Arab person behind what's the name? You know what I'm saying? Like in these little white towns and stuff, like they don't have Arab gas station owners. They own their own gas stations. And they work there. You know what I'm saying? But in the hood, it's always Arab or East Indian person or something like that owns the little corner stores, the gas stations, selling the Dutches and the cigarillos and all of that. The lotto
beauty supplies.
The beauty supplies are mostly Asian.
Mm.
Like, I don't know what they are. I think they're Korean. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But I think it's mostly Koreans that they sell like the weaves and all of that. And they do the nails and all of that. I think the nail shops are Chinese. I think. I'm not sure. They look Chinese to me.
I feel here, well, I don't know about in the States. I know here it's more Korean. The beauty industry is more Korean dominated, I would say. I haven't seen too many Chinese nail shops. It's mostly Korean.
They might be Korean, but I think, I don't know. They look a little different than the people that own the beauty supply stores.
Mm.
Y'all help me out in the chat, sisters. Who own those? Okay, beauty supply is mainly Korean. Nail shops are mostly Vietnamese.
Okay, there you go.
A lot of Vietnamese own the nail shops and stuff. Yeah. Here we go. There we go. And so, yeah, like we don't even think nothing of it. You know what I'm saying? We walk into these people's stores. We doing business with them. We literally fund their community. You know what I'm saying? They set up shop in our community, extract all of the money and the resources out of the community, and just disrespect. You know what I'm saying? The way that they treat people. You know what I'm saying? They following you around their store. They keeping an eye on you the whole time you in the store. They got the bulletproof glass up and all of this stuff. They don't do nothing to build the community back up. They don't, sponsor the little league team or nothing. You know what I'm saying? They just come in, set up shop, and we just happily go in the stores and spend our money with them without even thinking about it.
And it's funny because I don't know if it's the same in the States, but here, when you go to the beauty supplies in Toronto, the workers are all Black girls. They're all Black women.
Mm.
And it's like, I had to talk to a girl. I'm like, the ins and outs of this. Like, what people like. If you were to go up to, and they usually work behind the cash register. And if you were to go up to them and ask them, oh, can I get a 4B or can I get, this product? They don't know. And it's like,
I don't know.
Yeah. So it's like, I had to talk to the girls. I'm like, what this business is. You know how to do it. All you just need is somebody to help you, I guess, get access to the actual resources or get access to some of the products and you're in business. But sadly, again, people just want to be up under the thumb. It's disappointing.
Yeah, but even, some people who may even be ambitious and want to do their own thing, they make us jump through a lot more hoops, where these people show up here you know, barely speak the language. They don't got no type of credit history, nothing. And they got access to just funding to get their business up and running. Next thing you know, you just got here 2 months ago. You got a whole storefront full of supplies. Like how you get that? And you just came from Sri Lanka, pissing in a river. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like it's designed that way. It's a system. It's set up that way. You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're gonna make sure that you're good when you get over here, but you gotta do business in the black community. You don't see those same stores in the white community. You know what I'm saying? You drive through the white community, you ain't gonna see none of that. All of their business is set up to extract the resources from out of our community. And so our problem is the mindset that we have. We don't have that black first mindset where, we realize these people are mistreating us, disrespecting us, boycotting us. We need to reciprocate that same energy. They will be out of business. They don't have anything without us. We are the mules of the entire society on every level, whether you're talking about politics, whether you're talking about economics or whatever. Everybody is living off the backs of foundational black Americans. Literally. Oh, Peter Ogun said it. We are the bane. What he said? We are the bane of all other human existence, and FBAs are the most amongst the melanated peoples throughout the world who resonate and have that understanding. Right. We're the economic base. Right. And so the same way that we lecture the Africans about what they need to do to get the colonizers off their back over there on the continent, to stop the Chinese from recolonizing them right now, the same way we preach to them about the things that they need to do, we need to do the same thing over here. Because our condition over here is like a microcosm of what's happening on the continent on a bigger level. They indebted to all of these other nations, and they're never going to be able to get out of debt. We in debt over here. We ask everybody who's foundational black American right now, raise your hand if you owe some type of debt to some institution somewhere. 8 out of 10 of us, if not 9 out of 10 of us, are going to have to raise our hand. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's student loans or something else. So we got to develop the same type of mentality. Right. Powernomics is the answer. We got to develop that powernomics mentality to be able to circle our wagons, not just from a cultural perspective. We're doing a good job of that now, getting some straightening as far as the tethers are concerned, getting them out the paint and all of that. That's good what we're doing. But we got to do that on the economic level, most importantly. And I know it's a little bit easier said than done because there's really not enough black businesses for us to sustain ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't supply everything that we need. You could barely get a roll of tissue, you know what I'm saying, if you're trying to just shop black only. So that's something that we got to work on. We got to look inward and work on that. Are there a lot of black-owned businesses out there in Toronto?
Not really. I will say, for the most part, you have like sprinkles of that, and that's in regards to, I guess, people coming over here and not being able to get the food or certain types of things that they would receive back home. But even with the black ownership, you tend to see the institution isn't really going to stay for long. I've seen a couple of nice places that pop up and, people are trying, but for the most part, it's pretty scarce out here, I would say.
No doubt. No doubt. Peace, what's going on? DJ RP Beats. Shout out to DJ RP Beats in the building.
They like to call us Abids and Jarez, but East Africa is in shambles. The hypocrisy's weird. Your economy's weird. Bankrupt, so you gotta flee here. We embrace you with open arms. Now it's obviously clear we unappreciated. All that sucker shit is for leeches, ain't it? I think it's time that we get reacquainted. Foundational black Americans, we the ones that be moving culture. So sit your ass in the goofy corner. When we talk about reparations, it ain't up for debate. It's a blood debt owed to descendants for the enslavement.
Well, I ain't even gonna get into the reparations part yet. Let me back it up a little bit.
Hypocrisy's weird, your economy's weird. As poor, they like to call us Abids and Jareds, but East Africa is in shambles. The hypocrisy's weird, your economy's weird. Bankrupt, so you gotta flee here. We embrace you with open arms. Now it's obviously clear we unappreciated.
They like to call us Abids and Jareds, but East Africa is in shambles. The hypocrisy's weird. Your economy's weird, bankrupt, so you gotta flee here. So I'm just kind of making sure that I'm covering all grounds. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to feel singled out. You know what I mean? We getting at everybody, all the guilty parties. You know what I'm saying? And I think around the time when I was writing this, there was a lot of those Twitter spaces that was going on. And it was definitely a lot of East Africans up in these Twitter spaces talking crazy.
Really?
About foundational Black Americans. I mean, talking crazy. Like, I was like, damn, I didn't know it was like that. I knew it was some funny style stuff, but I didn't know it was like that. Some of them Somalis and Ethiopians, Eritreans and all of that, they was talking crazy in some of them Twitter spaces. So we had to get at everybody. Sorry, not sorry. Dr. Claude Anderson for giving us the blueprint, building our economic base. Yep. Yes, indeed. All right. And so what did I say after that? East Africa is in shambles. The hypocrisy's weird. Your economy's weird. Bankrupt, so you got to flee here. And that's the thing. They on Twitter space talking all this shit, and they sitting in Chicago or Cleveland or Minnesota. Minnesota is the main place. That's it. You sitting in Minnesota talking all of this shit about Black Americans and how beautiful your culture is and all of this stuff, but you're not there, though. You're not at home, though. Your economy's weird, bankrupt, so you got to flee here. We embraced you with open arms, but now it's obviously clear we unappreciated. So this is what it's come down to. Like Rhea was saying earlier, the hospitality was on fleek for the most part. You know, like I said, some people are complaining about getting teased or whatever the case may be, but for the most part, we embraced y'all with open arms. Not only embraced y'all with open arms, we actually went out of our way to fight to make sure that there was a pathway for you to get here. Not only that, when it comes to East Africans, when they were facing the invasion from, who was it, Mussolini, I think.
Mm-hmm. It was Ethiopia who had that invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was foundational Black Americans over here who were volunteering to go over there and fight to stop that invasion from happening, to save the last place in Africa that wasn't colonized yet. Black Americans in the United States government didn't even want us going over there. Black Americans was going out of their way to say, nah, we can't let this happen. And so it's beyond just embracing people with open arms. But yeah, man, they have some real deep hatred coming from the East for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but it was deep.
And I have a friend who's from there, and when she came here, I don't know what is being told to people over there, because even when she would come here, I have another friend who has a mom, and she's Jamaican, but she's very fair skinned, and she's like, wow, like I didn't expect a Jamaican to look like that, you know, and she talks so well. And, you know, I had to check her, and I'm like, well, what does that mean? She's like, well, the way they perceive you guys over there is Bob Marley, blunt in your mouth, Rasta, loud. And it's like, well, no, like that's not how it is. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's media driven, where there's this thing that's thrown at them where they feel as if this is how we are and this is the only way. But she was quite surprised with a lot of the things that she had learned here. And she's like, if I hadn't come here, I wouldn't have had an understanding of how things are here, how the racism here is in Canada. She didn't believe there was racism here in North America. Well, I wouldn't say for America, but for Canada. I'm like, no, it's all around you. Like, you just got to open up your eyes and see and do the research and do some digging.
Right. And so we do hear that a lot. Oh, it's the media. You know, the way the media portrays you guys as all being thugs and gangbangers and this, that, and the third. And so that's why some of the people have this perception. But the thing is, the media over here didn't portray them in a beautiful light either. You know what I'm saying? Like we grew up seeing images of Africans with big stomachs and flies on their face and all of that. They told us that they were all cannibals and shit like that. But we didn't believe that shit. We didn't internalize that shit. When we heard them, when we saw the media portraying them that way, we took it as if they were talking about us. We didn't think like there was that's them people over there. You know what I'm saying? We didn't internalize that shit and start looking at them funny style because we looked at them as being the same as us. So if you talking shit about them, you talking shit about us. Those are brothers and sisters. We just ain't met each other yet. That was our thinking.
Do you think with Black Americans, and my dad has said this a lot of times, you've had a bit more of a cohesive, I guess, attitude towards each other, amongst each other, because you've had this historic lashing with the white man. Do you think it's because of that you've been able to grow together, and then you also have seen the devil face to face versus people outside of there where they have a puppet propped in front of them?
Mm-hmm.
They're not really in tune to understand who's kind of pulling the strings. Do you think it's sort of that, or do you think after a while people are kind of more in tune to what's going on and they just, I guess, over time really don't care?
I think that's definitely a part of it, but I think another part of it, and this is something that I've come to understand recently. It was a Nigerian sister that broke it down to me this way. Over here, we are a minority, right? We supposedly only make up 13% of the population over here. And the way that we identify ourselves is by our blackness. Our blackness is what makes us different from the dominant society. You know what I'm saying? Whereas where they come from, everybody's black. So they don't identify themselves by being black. They identify themselves by their tribe. They identify themselves by their nationality or their religion, their language, whatever it is. They have different ways of identifying themselves. And so for us, when we see a black person, no matter where they're from, we just think it's one of us because that's how we identify ourselves. We black. But they identify themselves by their tribe. So no matter if somebody looked like them or not, you from another tribe. That's a different people. That's the way that they see it. You know what I'm saying? And so when she broke it down to me that way, that made a lot of sense to me. I'm like, I could understand that. But at a certain point, when are you going to realize that the tribalism is not working out for y'all? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless to what your culture is, your culture is supposed to be a tool or a mechanism for your empowerment. You know what I'm saying? And if your culture is not working towards your empowerment, then you're supposed to change your culture. You know, your culture is not supposed to just be static for 1,000 years, no matter what the circumstances are. Your culture comes from the circumstances that you find yourself in. It's a way of life developed based on your circumstances. And so you see you being dominated, you know what I'm saying, by 3 white people that show up because those 3 white people are on code with each other. And the Asians that come over there, they all on code with each other. And y'all can't get on code because of tribal differences. At some point, it got to dawn on you that you got to let the tribal shit go. All right, we almost through this. Thing.
All that sucker shit is for leeches, ain't it? Clear, we unappreciate it. All that sucker shit is for leeches, ain't it? I think it's time that we get reacquainted. Foundational Black Americans, we the ones that be moving culture. So sit your ass in the goofy corner.
And so this is a thing too, man. This is a thing that we, experiencing too. Whereas oftentimes we're told that we don't have no culture. But the thing is, everybody emulates our style, the way that we talk, the way that we dress, our music, everything like that gets, all over the world. Everywhere you go, you'll see somebody that look just like me, dress like me, you know, swagged out just like me, but somehow we don't have no culture. And I think that comes from because our culture is so inclusive. You know what I'm saying? We never put the gates up around our culture and said, this is our thing. You know what I'm saying? This is foundational Black American culture. We just said it's Black culture. And so, like I said earlier, we see all Black people as just being one big group. You know what I'm saying? Regardless to where they're from, regardless what language they speak, what cultural background they come from, we just look at all Black people as being the same. And so we just gave the credit for things that we've innovated and things that we've brought forth to the table. We just gave credit to everybody Black. And so now, if it belongs to everybody, then it belongs to nobody. So now there's this sentiment that we don't have culture. But I think, I know we have a very unique culture, and everybody does. You know what I'm saying? Jamaicans have their own unique culture. Trinidadians have their own unique culture. West Africans, East Africans, everybody has their own unique culture. But the thing about it is our culture seems to be the most influential. Why do you think that is?
Question. I don't know. I would say and upon living there's a certain swag that you guys have. You notice it, and I'm going to bait a lot of people out who come up here to Toronto for Caravana, but there are actually some guys who would lie and say, oh, I'm from the States. And you would just start to inquire like, oh, really? Tell me where, tell me when. And it's a running joke here. If you ask a few of the Black people, when Caravana comes, there are guys who will fake like they're from the States and they're not. But there is a certain type of, I would say, swag and sort of way that you carry yourselves, which is very infectious. And a lot of people want to leech off of that. And I think the story also behind how you guys have been able to pull yourself up out of where you first started. Just imagine, years and years and years ago, you were at the bottom, and then you had to gradually, with no help, pull yourself up out of that. And even though things aren't as great as they should be, compared to a lot of the places that I've come from, that other people have come from, we've seen you guys build. We've seen, Rosewood. We've seen Black Wall Street. So there is this sort of pride that you should have about yourselves. And upon looking on that, people want to emulate that and be that. And, it's.
So why not just give credit? Why not just give props to it? Why try to tether onto it and claim it as your own and act like we don't exist? We ain't do
shit. It's an insecurity. It is. And a lot of people have it. There's nothing wrong with being proud of where you come from, but I feel like people have blinders on when you point out certain things about their culture that isn't right. And a lot of my friends and people who I've known from different places, and I will say this about Jamaica, I've been at this, I think maybe 4 years ago, it was my first time being there. I had no idea how bad it was over there. And the way,
like the poverty and stuff?
Yeah. And the way Jamaicans would tote and talk about Jamaica this, Jamaica that, I was getting ready. I was like, oh, like, let me get ready and land and experience it. And the stories that I would hear on the tours about the highways not being owned by the Black people there. I think Chinese own the toll there, and they have it for 50 years, which is ridiculous. The infrastructure, the limestone that doesn't go back into the actual country, it's upsetting. And it's like, how can you have all of this pride, but look at where you come from? Why aren't you putting that pride back into the space of your home? So it's an insecurity thing. You can talk big, but at the end of the day, when people start doing their paperwork and realizing, well, wait a minute, what's going on? You start to deflect and point out other things about everybody else and try and leech on to something else that really isn't for you or isn't yours.
Heavy, man. Heavy. Great perspective. And, it's good conversation right here. And I understand, I heard about what you were saying too, about the people fronting like they're from the States. I saw that there was a documentary about Vince Carter. Vince Carter used to play for the Toronto Raptors. A documentary about him and how he kind of brought pride to Toronto, where they were saying like people used to front like they was from the States. But after he came out there and, people started to come visit, the tourism upticked and all of that stuff, and then people started to take more pride in being from there after his presence there. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's deep. That's deep. And even Busta Rhymes, he talks about how when he was younger, he used to hide the fact that he was Jamaican. He wasn't
really?
proud. Yeah, he said he wasn't proud to be Jamaican. And when he was talking about it, though, he was giving props to the Latinos for giving him the courage to express his culture and be who he is and all of that. You know what I'm saying? It was weird. That conversation was weird. I'm like, come on, Bust. Come on, Bust, man. In Brooklyn,
saying questionable stuff lately, but
with him?
Yeah.
It's this social media thing, man. Like, before social media, we were able to just see these people one way. You know what I mean? Whatever their image was, we just looked at them larger than life or whatever case may be. But now with social media, like more stuff gets revealed and it's kind of disappointing. It's kind of a lot of people I used to look up to. It's like, that's what you was on this whole time.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a good thing because now you can sort of weed out and I guess kind of put people in a position of who is who and where is where. And it's disappointing. I've seen it with celebrities that I've admired and I have liked. And I was like, oh, really? Like Jay-Z was probably one of my favorite rappers. And I was just like, oh, that's how you move now? Okay, well.
Yeah. You're right. It is a good thing. You know what I mean? It might be a little disheartening or whatever, but it's a good thing. We need that. It's like the medicine. We need that. It's bitter, but it's going to make you feel better.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
When we talk about reparations, it ain't up for debate. It's a blood and culture. So sit your ass in the goofy corner. When we talk about reparations, it ain't up for debate. It's a blood debt owed to descendants for the enslavement. But you can call us freedmen for legislation. Just like y'all compensated Asians with no hesitation. But permanent underclass is our designation. We can't accept replacement in the country we created.
Why the hell wouldn't they want us to get our reparations?
The non-FBA?
Yeah.
I guess it goes back to that insecurity thing I've spoke about again, which I don't understand it either because especially with the Caribbean, when you look at it, every island has been touched. Like Grenada had the French, the British, I believe the Portuguese at one time, the German, as well as the Spanish. And I mean, it's a pretty nice payout if you ask me. I have about a couple of countries I would like to run up to and,
exactly.
So I don't get it. I get it. I understand. It's more that tribalism thing. And a lot of people look at Black Americans and see them as the pinnacle and as what it looks like. You're not there yet, but what it looks like to kind of fight through racism and white supremacy. Mm-hmm. And it's that crab in a barrel mentality, like, oh, how dare you do better than me? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it's run rife within our community. I've discussed reparations with my friends. Some of them feel as if, oh, well, you shouldn't benefit from X, Y, and Z. But I mean, when you look at everybody else, there are a lot of people who are benefiting who weren't there back then. So it's like, why is it an issue when I want it, but when everybody else gets it, pretty much it's just ignored. So I would say it's an insecurity thing, a tribal thing. And it's quite annoying because I would like my reparation checks as well.
And that's the thing, like us, being successful in our reparations fight will set a precedent just like we do with everything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, and also the Caribbeans and Africans that are here, even though you're not eligible for a check, you're still going to benefit indirectly from Black Americans being in a better economic position. It doesn't hurt you at all. It doesn't hurt your group at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, my wife is Jamaican. She don't get a check, but she's my wife. You know what I'm saying? That's an indirect benefit. Her son is going to get a check. Her husband is going to get a check. And so, like, I don't understand these people trying to talk down on reparations and even getting into the political mix. Like you have politicians who are from non-FBA backgrounds who work against us getting reparations. It's the weirdest thing, man.
And I mean, it's like you said, it's a great blueprint. I was at the FBA rally. I think it was in November.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah, I was there, and I was like,
Yeah,
why
right,
not?
all the way on. Cole, you traveled from Toronto. You traveled from Toronto all the way to DC for that. I don't got my horns ready, but shout out to you for that right there.
Thank you.
I ain't even make it. I'm right here in Georgia.
But
go ahead.
But yeah,
because that was like last minute. That thing was put together in like a couple of weeks.
I squeezed in a day off so I just went for the weekend, but it was quite amazing and still frightening to see, because we don't see the numbers when we just click on YouTube or have these conversations. But when you're actually in the thick of it, it was like, wow, and these are the people who could make it. So it was a great thing to look at and see people organize themselves. And I always say, like, just don't take it as an insult to injury, or don't be insecure about it. If you see a group of people who look like you who are getting on code, learn from it, soak it up, take it back to where you're going, and educate the people around you. But people just want to play hear no evil, see no evil, and think everything is okay.
Man, I gotta take that in for a second, man. Y'all remember? Oh yeah, because Nicely was down there. Yeah, Nicely was down there. But yeah, y'all remember that thing because of the date that got messed up and all of that stuff. Like they put that together in a couple of weeks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because originally it was supposed to be in September, and the date didn't get approved, and so it was going to get canceled altogether. And then it turned out that some other group had the original date that Tariq was trying to get, and they were doing a reparations march on that same original date that he was trying to get. And so it looked a little funny style, and so he was like, nah, you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to get another date, and we're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? And so between September and when was it? November?
I think it was November 4th or 5th, around the beginning.
Something like that, right? So between September and November is when everything was planned and put together. So for you to make it all the way from Toronto as a non-FBA person who's not even eligible to get a check, who doesn't even live in the United States, like, you didn't have to be there at all. So for you to give that type of support, that says a lot about you. Salute to you. For real. And so I just got one bone to pick with you, though.
What's that?
When are you going to get that YouTube channel back popping? When are you going to get back to the content? Yo, this girl makes fly ass content, man. Like your editing skills, all of that, like your presentation. I wish I knew how to do that shit like that. Like,
thank you. School taught me. If I didn't have school, I went to school for journalism for a bit, so I was able to, I guess, take some of that and utilize it. I was actually making a video yesterday, and then I had to stop because I had a lot of things to do. But work has been really busy, and I'm also moving, so I will get on it when I need to get on it. But
niggasplaining. That's called niggasplaining. That's called niggasplaining. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I invited you to come on here. I'm trying to get you back on your shit. Come on now.
I know, and I just hit 600, but I'm just like, oh, the finish line is right there. I can see it, but I'm just like, oh, life. But I will. Eventually, I will start back up and start doing some more stuff. I just need to get myself a little bit more organized.
Facts. I agree with Peter Ogun. Everybody put some flowers in the chat for Rhea.
Oh, thank you guys. Oh.
Yeah, and go subscribe to her YouTube channel. What's the name of the channel? That's so Rhea, isn't it?
Yes, when shit gets Rhea.
Oh, when shit gets Rhea. Gets Rhea. Okay, yeah. Y'all go subscribe to the YouTube channel, y'all. There we go.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you guys. Oh.
All right. As we proceed to give you what you need.
Permanent underclass is our designation. We can't accept replacement in the country we created. Which brings me to all these neo-Nazi Ukrainians. We are not them docile Africans y'all be playing with. Nah, these niggas built different. They wonder how we still kicking after centuries of being in the fields picking cotton and indigo. Shout out to the Seminoles and Gullah Geechees. Hey, what that reparations hitting for?
And so you touched on that a little bit earlier, you know, how people see what we've been through, our fight, our struggle, and the fact that, you know, we still shining to a certain degree. It's going to be one or two things. It's going to be either an admiration or it's going to be a resentment that comes out of that. But I was addressing the Ukrainians on that one because we know Joe Biden been going out of his way to, you know, give a footing to the refugees coming from the Ukraine because of that conflict that they got going on over there in Europe, the white on white crime going on over there in Europe. And remember those videos that was coming out with that when the Africans were stuck over there and they was smacking them around on the train and all of that stuff. I said, listen, we are not them docile Africans y'all be playing with. This was just a warning as y'all coming over here, especially y'all over there in California. I know a lot of them getting dropped off in California and all of that. Just so y'all know, we all look the same, but the Negroes over here is a little bit different. You might not want to try that. You might not want to try that. This for the neo-Nazi Ukrainians. We are not them docile Africans y'all be playing with. No, these niggas built different. They wonder how we still kicking after centuries of being in the fields picking cotton and indigo. Shout out to the Seminoles and Gullah Geechees. Hey, what that reparations hitting for? That's the end of the song. I should have just let it play. So if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck. So get comfortable, nigga.
And if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck. So get comfortable, nigga. And if you didn't vote, I fuck with you, nigga. Cause if it's up, then it's stuck. So get comfortable, nigga. Africans, Caribbeans, essays, Asians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white boys, Jamaicans, Latinx, Arabs, Native tribes, Haitians. All these motherfuckers been secretly hating.
And so, yeah, man, again, at the end of the day, everybody could get it. Everybody could get it. And so I want to thank my guests for joining me tonight. This will turn out to be a real dope conversation.
Thank you for having me. For
sure. We got to get you back, and we got to get you back on your shit.
I know.
For real. For real. So let everybody know where they can follow you at, your YouTube channel, all of that stuff, whatever you got coming up soon for us.
Well, like I said before, you can subscribe to When Shit Gets Real. I promise there's new content coming out. You can also follow me on Instagram at Darling4Eyes. And yeah, I've just been trying to work around just moving. So I've been really, really busy for the past couple of months or so, but I will get back on the YouTube stuff. I'm going to do a little bit more of music reviews and such the likes of that.
Oh, you do music reviews?
Sorry?
I said, oh, you do music reviews.
Yes, I'm not a connoisseur within music, but I know what I like when I hear it. So
on YouTube?
Yes.
You play the songs?
I usually just do album reviews, or I just go back and I review an album from maybe like 10, 15 years ago. Some of my favorite stuff. So.
But do you play the music though?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
It's more just me like critiquing and saying exactly, picking apart what I like, the composition or the lyrical content or the overall theme of the album. But yeah, it's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, I would love it if you did ours, the Master's Table album. You could play it if you wanted to too, because you won't get no copyright strikes and nothing like that on your channel. It's free to play. But however you do your thing, I would love to get your feedback on the album.
I listened to a couple. I think Fort was a song I actually liked. I listened to a couple of the songs.
The Fort?
Yes.
That's one of them ones.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of them ones. Yep. All right, family. We're going to wrap this one up. This was another dope episode of the Masters Decoded, and that was Revenge of the Akata. And so at this point, if you watch this entire broadcast, whether you're here live or you're watching it on the replay, if you watch this entire broadcast and you still feel some type of way, safe to say you're a tether. I don't know no other way to put it. God is in the nuances. And I think, we broke things down pretty carefully, covered it from, every angle, 720 degrees. So it should be pretty clear that we're not talking about all Africans, all Caribbeans, that we're not anti-immigrant and all of this other nonsense that y'all be trying to say. It should be pretty clear that all of that should be to the wayside. And so if you're still feeling some type of way, you're just a tether and you can have a seat in the goofy corner. So you want to give any last words before we get out of here?
Once again, thank you for having me. I really admire what you guys are doing as a people. It's frustrating when you don't have that same camaraderie within your own groups, but you just got to keep chiseling every day. I have to remind people or I have to tell people this is not how it is, or I have to sort of somewhat spread the message to people in my groups. And I do apologize for the fact that people in our spaces in the Caribbean aren't as receptive to the movement that you guys are trying to create, because I think it is a beautiful thing. And I wish you guys nothing but the best. I will always support you guys in whatever you do, because when you win, we all win. And that's the message that I want people to get. It doesn't matter about tribes or class or what island is what, it has to be one at the end of the day. And I hope and I pray that people from my region of the world can actually understand, grasp, and take that message and apply it, because so many beautiful things can happen when we are all on code. There's no stopping us at all.
Facts. All right, so that's it, family. With that being said, always remember, we are not the master teachers. We are only the master students and signal boosters for the voices of the new Black media. Peace and Black love.
Still you so brilliant, most resilient. We poster children of prophecy fulfillment. We gotta be God's children. Yeah.